URP Practical Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Wendell Jeffrey. Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Christian greetings. Thanks for joining us. Today, Dr. Vishnu Bandhu and I will be discussing some exciting matters as it relates to the climate of things here in Guyana. But first, let me go into our segment, Talking Practically. In the United States presidential election, 1980 elections, Ronald Reagan asked a simple question: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? It was a very thought-provoking question to a nation that was experiencing some very troubling times. And as we look at Guyana, the situation in Guyana, I am prompted to ask my own simple question. And the question is, has Guyana ever done better? Has Guyana ever, have we ever done better? In other words, whenever in our history can we collectively, all of us, look back and say that we were proud to be Guyanese? When did we as a people, when did we ever break out of our endemic, systemic cycle of poverty and negativity, crime, racism, and political corruption? Guyana, for all her history, has been a very broken country. We were either enslaved, we were colonized, we were subject to racial tension and racial violence. And then we moved from that, but we moved into an era of political corruption, coupled with a deluge of crime and lawlessness. And all the while, our underlying nemesis was poverty, scarcity, and lack. Some of us have been able to be blessed and we break out of the pack and we live comfortably. But for the most part, Guyana still remains an impoverished, crime-ridden, underdeveloped, politically flawed nation. When will we ever catch a break? When will we ever arrive at the light at the end of our collective tunnel? When will we ever be able to say that we are proud to be Guyanese? I don't know the answer to those questions. I've searched my mind. But what I know is that all of us need to continue to fight for Guyana. This country belongs to all of us. The career politicians from the two major parties are positioning themselves to make sure that they never, ever become poor again. Common sense and our survival will dictate, therefore, that you and I have got to be concerned with our own well-being. And what the United Republican Party is asking is that you wake up before it's too late and understand that Guyana and its tremendous wealth belongs to you and your children too, not only the politicians and their friends and their families and their cronies. The URP is asking you to consider us as a third party, a party who will break the winner-take-all monopoly between the two parties and what they now possess. And I'm appealing to your religious, I'm appealing to your nationalistic, and to your patriotic better judgment. Because if you leave these two parties by themselves, you will get over the next 50 years exactly what you've gotten over the last 50 years. And if you do get that, your children and your grandchildren will be just as sick and broke and poor as you. While others continue to strategically place themselves and enrich themselves, their family, and their cronies, the URP is asking for your support. We cannot do it without you. Guyana belongs to all of us, Indians, Amerindians, all of us, and we all should benefit from Guyana's resources, not just a few of us, not just a few of the politicians. All of us should benefit, and that's talking practically. Thank you very much. Blessings on you. Doc, welcome again to the program. Welcome again to the program. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping
You're looking
fine.
fine.
Thank you. Fine.
The more you get involved in this thing, the younger you're looking, Doc. Fresher you're looking.
It's your mind.
It's your mind. Doc, we ran out of time when we were talking last week, And I just want us to continue the conversation that we have been having with the Guyanese folk. Doc, we've been having some challenges. This program that we have here, we've been getting some challenges as it pertains to having this program broadcast on the national television. I am very passionate and I'm anxious to talk about it. But as the leader, I want you to take first jump. What is your take on the freedom of the press here in Guyana?
Pastor, you know, since I know myself as a young man in Guyana, Guyana never have freedom of press. Because what had happened, these political parties that took government and are in government, they have been dominating everything. Even the private channels are afraid to carry any other political party because of harassment from the government.
No, I want you to take your time and say that.
Yes.
What I'm hearing you say is that some of these channels that are carrying our program, they are still afraid because of harassment from the government?
Yes.
So let me ask, the last government or this government?
Both government.
Wow.
Both government. There's no difference in it.
Wow.
This government is a little worse than the last government because the URP, let us talk about newspaper for one.
Okay.
At least in the last government, the URP had able to put out some of its press release and the Chronicle newspaper carry it.
Okay.
This government, the Chronicle newspaper don't carry us. Although we're sending it all the time to them, right?
Let's do this here, Doc.
Yeah.
I want to be objective because this is what we're about. We're about objectivity. Is it that the administration is telling the Chronicle newspaper not to carry our stories, or is it that the newspaper personnel are determining not to carry it? In other words, do you want to ask Mr. Moses Nagamutu, the Prime Minister, if he could look into it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it might be that the folks at the newspapers and the broadcasting houses are acting independent of the government. You understand what I'm saying?
If you recall clearly some time ago,
Yes.
the Prime Minister was the one who said he will monitor all the newspaper, especially political news.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it means that they are getting advice, or they have to get it clear from the Prime Minister to carry those news. Now let us take, for instance, our television station. Our television station is the People's Station.
Channel
NCN,
NCN,
right?
Channel 11, okay.
As you rightly said just now in your opening statement, that all these things are the people's one. It's not the government, the people who sitting in parliament.
Correct.
It is the people. All the resource in this country belongs to the people.
Correct.
But we had applied, the URP had applied since August last year for a paid program, starting out half an hour,
Yes.
and then continue with an hour up, on the next few months.
Yes.
They all had agreed that they will give us the half an hour program. Ron Robinson was the CEO, I think, that time.
Not CEO, he was one of the
program director or
directors,
something.
yes.
Okay. He was looking after it.
Okay.
They gave us a price where we had to pay $35,000 per each show.
Plus VAT.
And plus VAT, and plus if we want to extend it to quarantine, Borbies,
Yes.
an additional $10,000.
plus VAT.
Everything was agreed on.
Correct.
And it was agreed also for it to be aired on every Tuesday.
Correct.
When we go to pay for the program,
Yes.
there was the next June, they said we cannot pay for the program because they have to get further instruction
Right.
to carry
and
on.
we have been pushing, and we have been trying to negotiate for that. And of course, we got nowhere because we were told, because I was there, Doc, and we were told that while the party has changed, while the government has changed, the players remain the same.
Yeah.
In other words, this program cannot be aired on the national program, even though we're paying for it, because there is no change in the operation. Just like the PPP was stifling the objective voices during the last time, this new government refused to carry any political program, even paid political program, on the channel, just like they did.
I will like to correct you. The person said
Uh-huh.
it is the same game but different player.
It's the same game, but
A
different player.
player.
Okay, right.
Right? It's the same game. The PPP had the same game they was playing.
And
This
now
now is
this
the same game. We have a different government.
But Doc, what is so sad,
Yeah.
and what is so sad about this is that the PPP tried a policy that did not work for them. They tried a policy of stifling, negating voices or opposing voices, and it didn't work for them. And what is so disheartening is that this current administration, or at least the cronies or the subscribers to the policies of the current administration, they're doing the same thing. It's very sad.
Definitely, because they are the one, when they were in opposition, the NCN wasn't carrying some of their program, and they make a big stink
And
of
not
it.
only that, when they had the opportunity, when they had the one-seat majority, when AFC was independent, they voted to cut the subsidies.
I remember that.
You know, and they had the NCN folks marching up and down Homestretch Avenue, and now they're in power. They you know, and what I'm hoping is that the people, the board members, because we were told that the board members, the directors, are the ones who have to okay for the NCN administrators to carry the program. So I'm hoping, and those who are reviewing these things and so on, I hope that the word gets out that we are complaining that NCN is refusing to carry our program, even though they set a time, a cost, and everything. Doc, talk a little also about what's happening in Linden, because this thing has caught on. It has moved from Georgetown, and now we have a problem in Linden. Talk a little about that.
3 weeks ago, we have paid for a paid program, half-an-hour program in Linden. In the Linden area.
This is the government-owned television in Linden.
Right. Because that's the only television we have there.
Okay.
Mr. Ian Hall, who is our representative up there, went and paid, had a receipt for it.
He already paid?
He already paid, have a receipt, already have a time on Tuesday at 7 o'clock to show the program.
Wow, wow.
And next thing, I got a phone call at my office, and saying from the Linden station that they cannot carry the program anymore because
what happened? Why they couldn't carry it?
Because it's a URP program, and they have to get instruction from Georgetown, and Georgetown told them that they can't carry the program until they give that instruction. That okay. So what had happened?
Wow.
So they told us, we should go back, send somebody and collect the money. And I said, no, I wouldn't send somebody and collect the money. I even talked to the CEO in Georgetown about it, and he told me that we can collect back the money. The money is there, or they can show one program for us. And that's what he says.
And
right?
folks, those of you who are watching, I hope that you are understanding what we're saying. What we're saying is that this Guyana is supposed to be a democracy. NCN is subsidized by the taxpayers. All of us are taxpayers. When the PPP was stifling the voices, this current administration, when they were in the opposition, they took offense to that. And now they're in power, they're doing the same thing. Anyhow, Doc, I guess the viewers will make a call on that. Let's move on. Let's move on. You have a situation that is happening in the Wales estate as it pertains to the closure of these estates. What is your view? Because I know that that's your side of Tongue Region 3. What's your view on what is happening with the closure of these show estates?
It is a very sad situation, what is happening. The PNC didn't close the estate just like that. We have to be realistic.
All right.
It was on the table
chopping block
by the PPP already to close that estate.
Okay.
Right? But when the PNC came in power, they start to act on everything that they see immediately.
Okay.
So they decide to close the estate. Now, what I'm saying, that number of years, donkey years now, we are saying sugar does not pay in Guyana, right? Now, what the URP say? that if sugar is not paying and you're spending billions of dollars bailing out,
To subsidize.
bailing out the sugar industry to subsidize it all the time. Closing the estate is fine, but the workers them who are making their livelihood from that estate, what the government should have done is to divide that land and give it to those workers. And those billions of dollars what they must spend to subsidize all the time, take some of those money. It wouldn't be so much, and give it to the
As a
cane
start-
cutter.
as a startup.
Yeah, to start up their life,
Investment,
like
okay.
invest in their life. So if they take some of that and invest it,
Okay.
now the person will have something to fall back
Beautiful,
on.
beautiful.
Right now you have nothing to fall back on. Now they're talking about selling their estate to private people. Then they're talking about opening sugar, the estate there, plant rice. How would you plant rice when you don't even have a market for rice? You're going to plant rice again? So I don't know how this government are thinking. I don't know what the mentality they have. Now they're talking about closure of different estates. Now what I would say, closing the estate is fine, but find an alternative for the people.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Take the land and divide it amongst the people. Don't try to get big bucks from outside to thing. You're taking away the livelihood from these people.
Okay.
So
So what I'm hearing you say, Doc, is they have been, over the years, billions have been pumped into subsidizing the estate.
Correct.
The sugar.
yeah.
Take those investments, take those monies, divvy up among the current workers that they have, the sugar estate workers.
Yes.
And then assign them portions of the land that will no longer be under sugarcane.
Definitely.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What also would make sense is if we actually understand that Guyana is indeed the breadbasket of the Caribbean. You see that concept, we've been hearing that concept now for 40, 50 years, but it has not yet sunken in. If Guyana sees itself truly as the breadbasket of the Caribbean, we would have people out there on behalf of the government or in partnership with the government who are out there in other countries trying to market our produce, our pineapples,
Definitely.
we have, you go to border market and big market and they're dumping stuff because they can't sell it.
But our government say differently. Our government say that if you're a farmer, you're planting, you got to find your own market.
So what is the role, what is the role of the government? I would think the government has a business department. You have a minister of business. You have Go Invest. These are government, there's a government minister, ministerial department.
Well,
Go Invest is an entity of the government.
Well, this government is showing you clearly. All what they do is putting more and more pressure on these people, send them down the drain in poverty, so that they can able to get money to pay themselves. Because there's so much of money spending behind in the parliament, the minister, the president, the prime minister. You checked it. How much money? We are a small country. We can't afford to spend all this kind of money. So all what they're looking at is to serve themselves, not the people in Guyana.
All right. Doc, this is, and I hope that the viewing audience understand, and I know that some of you in your houses are shaking your heads in the affirmative because you understand that we had a last government that failed the people and was voted out, and we have a current administration that is grossly failing the people, and we have to have a third party in this country. And I hope that you agree, and at least agree with that, even if you don't agree that the URP should be the third party. We're hoping that you would. At least you would agree that we need a third party. Doc, I want you to talk a little about the diaspora. The diaspora has funded these two major parties over the years. They have contributed millions and tens of millions of American dollars to support the two parties. You've lived overseas so many years.
They are very much disappointed, especially in this government.
The diaspora you're talking about.
Because this government, doing like the same government, when election time, they go to collect money from these people, make all kind of promises. When they get in government, it's a different ball game, right? So right now, the last time I was in New York, they're all over the diaspora saying they are very, very disappointed with this government because what they say they will do, they didn't do.
Wow.
So, it has been going wrong and wrong. Every time election come, they find some other thing to go and fool these people. To get finance from them to get help.
You call it fooling.
It's fooling.
Doc, we have as we rush on here, so many things to talk about. Now, I was reading in Kaito News just the other day here that the guy from ExxonMobil, Mr. what's his name? He was in Trinidad, Mr. Toms. He was in Trinidad at a commerce meeting they had down there, and he's saying that oil. He keeps singing the praises of Guyana as it relates to the oil that they have found. Liza 1, the well Liza 1, they're saying that is going to produce something like 100,000 barrels of oil a day. And then they hit another well, and that was a dummy well. It didn't have anything. But Liza 2 and Liza 3, they're saying they have anywhere from 800,000 to 1.5 billion barrels of oil. Now, what the manager for ExxonMobil in the region here also said is that while they will try to use Guyanese people, Guyana we do not have the expertise that the people will be looking for. And so he was there in Trinidad, and the Trinidad government and so on, they're delighted with the find of oil in Guyana because they are glad that it is Trinidadians who will be coming to help and so on. So I'm saying all of that to say that we have got to be very careful that we benefit from the oil that we find in Guyana. And I'm going to talk a little more, but Doc, I know you're excited. Say something.
Yeah, but it is not the first time they said they find oil. The CGX said they find oil in the Suriname border.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Over 8 years ago. But still up to today, they said that was the second largest oil basin in the world. Mm-hmm. Up to today, they can't pull up a pint of oil yet.
We're out of
the Suriname border.
Suriname just built a refinery.
Right? Yeah, but we, the CGX who are digging there for the oil, up to now they can't pull a pint of oil out of there. Now they're saying that this year we have the largest in the world now, and so much of billions of barrel of oil will come out of there. How would we really monitor this thing? Because remember, this oil will be drawing offshore there, and it will go straight to the United States. So how would we able to monitor this situation?
Well, what I know, right? What I know will happen, or what should happen, is that Guyana is going to have to construct, and through bilateral arrangements and so on, systems will be put in place to make sure that we benefit in somewhere. But what Jeff Simmons is saying is that they can't depend on the workforce in Guyana because we don't have the expertise. That's number one. Number two, what will have to be done is that the government is going to have to make sure that they have people looking out for the interests of Guyana. Because like you say, the oil is coming, it's offshore. The tankers will load offshore, and the oil will go to wherever, and there need to be checks and balances. But I'm thinking that we can't be this naive to not have a system in place to monitor what is happening. My concern, in addition, though, is that Guyana is still a race-based voting populace. We vote blacks and we vote Indians. And the two parties know that. And so that in itself is a recipe for disaster.
I think that will change now.
You think that it will change?
I think that will change. I think people are getting wise up now because they are fooled left, right, and center by the two of them.
Okay.
Right? And I strongly think that will change, this race system. The race system will only go to the elderly people who stuck with the PPP and the PNC.
Okay.
If they get cow dung to eat, they will still vote for them.
You're getting graphic.
Right?
You're getting graphic.
I
understand.
This is how it goes.
I understand your passion.
But the younger generation doesn't want to hear about race. The younger generation want to know that how they'll get food in their belly,
Yes, sir.
how they will be able to have a family and maintain a family and be happy. Coming back to the oil, do you know what's the take on the oil for Guyana share?
You know, I was looking at that, Doc. In fact, I downloaded the breakdown.
It's 88
No,
cents.
ESSO exploration production. That's according to. I went to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I read the story that came from out of Trinidad, and I did my own research on local publications on the story. It says ESSO exploration and production Guyana Limited gets 45%. Then HESS, HESS, HESS Guyana Exploration, they hold 30%. And then the NCNOOC, Nexen Petroleum Guyana Limited, hold 25%. When I add that up, 45% and 30% and 25%, that's 100%. So I'm wondering what, and I'm ignorant of this, and I'm still wondering what percent does the Guyana government hold, or is it going to be that these guys who hold these percentages will remunerate a percent of that to the Guyana government?
I was made to understand Guyana will get 12%.
Guyana will get 12%.
88% will go to the other entities.
No,
right?
Understand that 12% is still a lot when it comes to oil. What the Guyanese folks have got to do is they have got to make sure that the citizens of Guyana create the checks and balances to make sure that the monies get.
Yeah, but the surprising part that we haven't got the oil yet in our hand, and our government are asking to get a loan in advance on oil.
Well, you know,
right? Now, on 2018, they are saying that a loan will be releasing to them. Now, what are you taking this loan to do? What?
Well, let me tell you.
To fight your political battle?
Well, of course, you know, it's a matter. You know, if the PPP were in power, and the PPP needed access to funds to stay in power, then they probably would have done the same thing.
So you are saying that the PNC need access to fund to stay in power?
Well, of course we know that. We know that if the government of the day gets access to the oil money, they're going to use it to win. Yeah. What I'm saying though is the government can do what they like. The government does not have the final say. The people of Guyana have the final say.
But I think the people should object for having advance.
And that's what I'm saying. The people can't right now object because the people have put the party in government. They put the party in power. So they can't object now because the party in power will say, you give us we are your voice.
If you are not doing right by the people, then I have all right to say something.
But you see, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Doc, that we have to get a third party. Because if you have a third party, then you have a party that could provide the balance. But right now, the Granger administration will take the money if they can get it, because they're going to be able to correct a lot of the broken down infrastructure that now obtains in the country. They're going to improve the schools. They're going to use some for their politicking, and the people can do nothing except you have a third party that can move no confidence motions, except you have a third party that can create that counterbalance. These two major parties will continue to run away. We out of time.
I agree. Let
me make a closing statement, Doc.
Well, I would like to urge our viewers to, be very serious with us. If we are saying anything wrong, you have our phone number. It's on the screen.
Beautiful.
Give us a call and let us know, because we need to know where we are going wrong and where we are going right. And remember, check our website out, urpguyana.com. urpguyana.com. And you younger folks, please make special effort to examine the URP and support and join the URP, because it is for your future, not ours. Next couple of morning, we vanish.
Thank you. Doc, thank you for your time. Thank you, viewers, for viewing. Please watch us again next week, this same time, this same channel. God bless Guyana. God bless you real good. Thanks for staying with us. Bye.
A new vision.